Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is my white C7 that we've so far done Cook's headers on, and we are going to add today an AFE intake. One there, one there. Here we go. So you guys wait outside the car for me, okay? 421 rear wheel horsepower and 440 rear wheel torque. The next round of mods, which is going to be an MSD intake, we're going to test to see if the LT2 manifold fits or if there's a way to make it fit. So everybody says no. So there's a quick test for the LT2. And here we have the fancy MSD intake manifold side by side with the LT1. That's a really cool game there. I mean, you can even see that the spread up top here, 407 to 426 is, I mean, that's a large spread. That's about 20 horsepower up top. The 85 time. 451 rear wheel horsepower, 458 foot-pounds of torque. Look at that. For those of you just joining us, this is the C7. We've come up with a name, a really awesome name. It is not Betty White, and it is not Slow White. It's Betty White. Yeah, that's thanks to Matt. That was a really good one. Now this car we are going to give away if we hit 500,000 subscribers. I don't expect to hit 500,000 subscribers, so I don't think that we're going to be giving it away. But if for some reason we do, I promise you we will give this thing away in its naturally aspirated form, which is going to get a little raunchy now because we're going to be installing the CSP bigger boy camshaft, not just our big boy camshaft, but the bigger boy camshaft, as well as LME heads and a stall converter. And Mike's going to do it before he leaves me.
That's right, guys.
He didn't mention the stall converter.
That's right, guys. Mike is he's leaving. He wants to do daddy daycare, and we don't fault him for it.
We don't. We hate that he's leaving because he's been a good employee for approximately 4 or 5 years. Yeah, I think you started at the beginning of 2018. I think so, yeah. Yeah, so this is sad.
You're a piece of shit, Mike.
All right, good. Have fun.
But yeah, so Mike's leaving to take care of an infant. Am I allowed to say that on?
And I hope that you're going to be coming back sooner than later.
Mike has 2 jobs to do before he leaves, and it's this, getting it ready, and that. So,
do you think you can get it done in a week and a half?
I don't know.
Both of them? Yeah.
You didn't tell me about the converter.
Okay, well that one's like last. Like that's high priority, but we're still waiting on the COVID parts, and this one is, you know, not a tie, but if we don't have parts, then, you know, we'll get the converter. This gets heads and cam.
Oh yeah, that'll be done.
Okay, cool.
Okay, let's do it. To do the heads and cam job, we actually take out the engine. I mean, we could do an engine at the same time, but only if we need it. We only want this to be a naturally aspirated engine for right now, so we'll stick with the bottom end LT1, even though I actually have the stroker here, and I have an LT4 engine ready to go in case I want to do boost, but you know, I think that this one's going to be naturally aspirated. I'm not sure if we're going to go to boost down the line, but if we do, we'll swap out the engine. So Mike is diligently working on his timeline to get this engine out. It is wild. You done yet, Mike?
Nope.
Nope.
Actually had to break out the hammer and chisel to get the valve covers off.
Did you? How do they look?
They're great.
They look.
The valve covers haven't been off in
Ever?
100,000 miles? Yeah, ever.
100,000 miles. It's only got like 91,000 on
Whatever.
it.
Same thing.
Same thing. It's not the same thing. This is the difference between, I don't know, 90 and 100,000 miles, Mike.
Everything looks great.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm looking at it right now. I don't see any broken valve springs. It looks like things are pretty good. There is definitely carbon buildup. When we get the heads off, I'll show you guys a carbon buildup in there. But yeah, this is a fun job. The steering rack has to come out, right?
Yeah, steering rack, fan,
So
steering
rack, fan has to come out. All like it's cumbersome. The hood comes off, and we're gonna take the bumper off. We're gonna take the bumper off because even though we don't have to, I got the Z06 front grille here. I'm not a big fan of this one. I think it looks stupid. Like they said that an F body looked like a catfish, but this thing, I don't know. This is definitely like a catfish and a stingray, like 8, or maybe it's a frog. It almost looks like a frog front end. Do you guys see it? It looks like a frog. Do we find any issues anywhere?
No, everything's coming apart nice. Usually with higher mileage cars, you know, you get rust and stuff, but this thing seems fine.
Yeah, this one did seem pretty clean when we looked at it on the underside. But you never know what we're going to find. Also, we're going to take the passenger side front wheel off, and I'm going to take that over to our buddies to get it straightened out since it's bent. So then I can stop driving around like.
It's really that bad?
It's not that bad.
I say the faster you go, I'm sure the more noticeable it is.
It's like once you're around like 55, it's really noticeable. But when you get to like 75, it's not. Just because the harmonics, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. But so on the way home, like I was not going the speed limit. I was like a strict 75 no matter what it was. The speed limit could have been 70, it could have been 80, it could have been 90. It was just, but it didn't matter. I was still 75. It was 55, still 75. That was 3 years ago, statute of limitations, blah, blah, blah. So how long until the engine's coming out?
Ideally today. I want to get the heads off first. That gives me access to the bed housing bolts. It's either going to be end of the day today or like first thing tomorrow. Yeah. At least the heads off today.
We're going to work him to the bone before he leaves. To the bone, Mike! You can see that we got the exhaust off, and by we, I mean Mike. Because I didn't do shit. And you can see how our little slits here worked with our header job. It looks like it's...
Yeah, it's actually great. Nothing looked melted. And
yeah.
You did a lot of testing on the dyno and everything looks great.
Yeah, so that's wonderful. That's exactly what you want to see. Maybe not exactly this, but you want to see that like everything's holding together with the heat. Look how hot it must have got. That thing's purple.
You were
purple.
You were load basing it pretty hard.
Yeah. Those runs were lasting a long time. So ideally, after we're done with this, the runs are going to go over a quicker period of time because it's just going to make actual power. I'd like to see in the neighborhood with the heads, cam, converter, E85, I'd like to see something in the neighborhood of 550 real horsepower. And I think that's possible. I just have to get E85 because we're completely freaking out. And E85 is like an hour from here. So it's like a beer run or an alcohol run except for different alcohol. This is the fun part, getting the steering rack out. You just gotta wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Go ahead, Mike. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Show us your wiggle dance. Do you have a wiggle dance?
No.
No. How did you have a kid if you don't have a wiggle dance?
What do they call it these days?
That's what I'm calling it these days. I have a wiggle dance. It works. There's 3 kids.
Yeah, I'm saying you ended up with 3.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I'm gonna go ask my wife if she likes my wiggle dance. I'll try to record it too.
What are you doing?
Hey, Kristen.
What?
Do you like my wiggle dance?
I don't get it.
Is that a yes?
I don't dislike it because you look like an idiot, but...
This is just video evidence to be able to say that I helped. Okay. Okay, throw it.
All right.
No, not really.
Up there.
Ah!
I mean,
No. Okay.
watch the beam. The cross beam up there. Oh my god. Carry it upstairs by himself. It's pretty good. We usually like to use 2 people, just in case. But it's his car, so.
Okay, so look at this bad boy. The engine is about ready to have the heads taken off, right?
Yeah, I wanted to.
You just got to take the water pump off, or do you?
I can. Actually, yeah, I do because it's bolted to the head.
Okay.
But I want to take the front bumper off so I can get closer.
Okay.
Water pump, AC compressor, headers, motor mounts, and then heads.
Cool. Well,
let's do it. I'm gonna show you guys how to swap out that front grille because it's pretty easy.
Okay, and now that you've popped that, it should be free, and ideally we have no connections, but just make sure you didn't miss anything.
Just go slow.
Go slow. That's what she said.
So now that the bumper's off, we have lots of room here in order to continue the process. We're gonna get the rockers off and then the heads off, and I'll show you guys how much carbon buildup's on this thing. It's 90-some thousand mile of carbon buildup. It is pretty nasty, but I'm curious what the cylinders look like, especially because we've been giving it a good flogging lately. And when I say a good flogging lately, I mean I've been beating the shit out of this thing, and it's been taking every single bit of it. But I've only beat it for a couple miles because I wanted to get this I wanted to get this moving to make sure that I have something to take down to Cadillac Attack if unfortunately the Cadillac just doesn't make it in time. So now that the bumper's off, we're going to get rid of Mr. Smiley Face here because it looks retarded. And we're going to put on the Z06 grill, which is a much nicer piece. It's actually pretty simple at this point. It's just 2 7s. Let me flip Mr. Frown upside down or smile upside, I don't know. And it's just these 2 7s, and then the tricky part is like getting these clips released and pulling it off. You kind of have to go from side to side. I'm going to do it now and not show you guys because I only have my hands. Okay, we're heading in for the moment of truth. The heads are coming off, and we're going to see how crusty this thing actually is at 91,000 miles. The runners were crusty, but the valves looked okay from what I could see when they were on the car when I was doing the intake manifold. But let's find out if this engine is staying in the car or if we're going to replace it.
The heck? The bolts are still in.
Mike's good with that premature.
Yeah. Seriously.
I thought you ordered for that.
So, yep. Okay, last bolt.
Second to last.
No, that's the last bolt.
15 in the back.
What?
15 in the back.
Oh, you're talking about for the harness?
Yeah. I'm not gonna let it come off. This might suck. Alright. Yeah, it's loose enough. Ratchet.
Oh my gosh.
What? GoPro's gonna run out of battery.
It is. It's at 36%. I don't know if there's enough.
You may have had an exhaust leak right here. The one bolt looked like shit. Hopefully it's not a new exhaust leak. We did do headers on this.
We could probably look at the gaskets and see.
Behind you.
Do you know which side's which? Nope. Well, I mean, I imagine if we see any exhaust leak on this. I don't see any on that one. And I don't see any on that one. So, it was probably a worthy thing putting on new exhaust gaskets when we did the headers. New GM exhaust gaskets.
Now, try.
Alright. I'll smell the head gasket.
It's like, God.
Okay, and here comes the heads. They look pretty good in there. I mean, this one cylinder's a little gunky. I mean, some of these all have gunk because Mike sprayed WD-40, and this cylinder was the one with... No, it wasn't. Was it? Yeah, all of it looks pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Like
For the mileage.
Yeah, 90-some thousand miles. Definitely has a little bit of buildup on the number 2 piston here. But, is that... No, that's not buildup. That's just from... Yeah, that's just the WD. This actually looks great for 90-some thousand miles.
So that is pretty darn cool. We have a decent looking engine. We're going to get the rest of it apart on the next video. I'll see you guys then. Here we go. It is time to pull the engine out. Are you ready, Mike? I've went to the bathroom a couple times here. Look at that fancy engine. It's back.
Pushed right in.
Hey,
Yo, shut the fuck up! I'm trying to film!
You didn't put the stock cam back in, did you?
What?
It's a smooth idle cam.
It is dyno time for the heads cam setup. I'm pretty confident the cat's a fail.